Woo, 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 woo. Hi, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, Internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And it's time for another edition of the weekly track roundup. I'm going to go over what I felt were the worst and the best tracks of the week, and a few songs that are in between as well. Everything I talk about is linked down below, so you can check it out for yourself if you are curious. Also down there, a link to our Turntable Lab a link. It's a link to Turntable Lab. We get kickback from it. Get some vinyl, get some turntable stuff if you've been planning to. If you're a collector or you're a beginner, there's tons of information and resources over there. Check it out. Get into it. And supports the channel and everything that we do. We also have a Patreon page where you can get some extra bonus monthly content, access to our Discord community as well. Check it out. And yes, we have a weekly newsletter where we are dropping to you every piece of content we put out throughout the week. It's all packed into the newsletter. Don't miss a single thing. Link to sign up down below. All right, worst tracks of the week. We have a handful, starting with this cut from Tate McRae, Slower, that I've been seeing make the rounds. Seems to be getting quite a bit of traction. Not entirely sure why. It's just a really bland, spacey, I guess generically sung ballad with kind of a trap beat behind it. Is this what's hitting right now? I'm not really sure as to why. It's sleep-inducing. We also have one from Lil Mosey, Try Me. Still not really seeing the appeal of this guy's music at this point. This particular single sounds like if you took a Polo G song and stripped out of it everything that usually makes a Polo G song appealing, and you essentially have this track right here. And then finally, TikTok star Addison Rae, Obsessed. Brand new single, and it is a total sleeper, in my opinion. Sounds like Ariana Grande without the talent, and really conceited chorus as well, which is actually kind of gross in tone lyrically. Really not feeling it. But hey, maybe the TikTok kids are. I guess we'll see how far it goes as a single. All right, the tracks that I thought were kind of meh this week, wasn't blown away by them, but still thought they were worth mentioning. We've got a new one from ZillaKami, Chains. It's aggressive, it's trap, it's metal, it's ZillaKami. It's what he usually does. Nothing too new for this sound or style from him, but decent, I suppose. Got a couple of new ones from Saba over here, neither of which I'm too crazy about. Ziplock and Rich Don't Stop. I think they check a bunch of decent fundamentals between them, but each track here is pretty derivative. One has more of a J. Cole vibe, one has more of a Drake vibe. Not really much in terms of like any lyrical standouts across both tracks. Either the hooks are all right, the production is pretty decent, but again, it's just not really going far enough if it's going to make an impression, a long-lasting one anyway. We have a new one from Rich Brian, Sydney. It's a low-key, well-done hip-hop track. Seems like he's drifting a little bit away from some of the pop stylings that he was pushing through much of 2020, which is nice. He sounds more comfortable and natural in this lane. However, I feel like he's kind of progressed past this point. Like when he put out The Sailor, he's put out tracks that are like way more ambitious and way more well put together than this. And while this is fine, I just personally can't wait to see how he kind of builds on that sound into the future. We've also got a new one from Lord Huron, which has a bit of a dreamy indie folk country flair to it. It's not too bad, not as uniquely produced or as sung as the last single they dropped. Mine Forever is the title of this one, and again, it's fine. It's pleasant while it's on. We have a new one from IDK, Just Like Martin. It's got a head bopping flow, good beat. Not much of a strong hook or anything, but it's a vibe. We have a new one from Hiatus Kaiyote. Brand new single, new album on the way via Brain Feeder. This has been a band for a while now that I have not been as big a fan of as some, and I have paid the price for it. I went into this new single like really with fingers crossed, like, am I going to love it? I want to love it. 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 And there are a lot of things about this track I do like. I think that the instrumental feels like something straight out of New York in the 2000s, very Alicia Keys. It's quite pretty on the instrumental end. There are a lot of interesting arranged additions to Hiatus Kaiyote sound, the strings, the horns, a lot of vocal layers as well. You can really tell the band is like trying to pull out all the stops in some respects, but there are points where the vocals still, to me, sound quite messy, and there are points where, especially now with all this additional instrumentation, where the mixing does sound a little sloppy. Especially some of those horns and strings don't seem to have as much presence as they should, considering how grand they're trying to sound. Look, I mean, I like what the band is doing stylistically, and I could tell there's a lot of heart in it, but still to this day, I guess I'm just wanting more on the execution and assembly end. But hey, if you're loving it, you're loving it. We have a new one from Greta Van Fleet, Broken Bells. I actually don't mind this track all that much. It's a pretty epic slow burner. While, yeah, it's still hella derivative of Led Zeppelin. I guess I could say at least the band is getting kind of better at ripping off Led Zeppelin. It's a somewhat better Led Zeppelin ripoff. I wish they would kind of find their own twist on all of it, but I suppose it's a slight improvement. Improvement. We have a new one from Bfb da Packman, Federal. A bit of a snoozer, in my opinion. It's got a few standout bars on it that are pretty funny, but the beat is somewhat generic. It's not one of his most standout flows, and the pace of it feels like he's kind of rushing through the track, and as a result, a lot of the better lines on the song don't really hit as hard as I think they should. We have a new one from Beartooth over here, which is a bit of a combination of alternative metal and metalcore and post-hardcore. The very sweet, soaring chorus. I'm not usually into stuff of this style, but I do have to admit, it's a pretty rockin' tune with a quality mix on it, and I don't really mind the super clean hook all that much either. Give it a listen. It's pretty fun. All right, we have best tracks over here. Best tracks, the ones that really stuck out to me this week were... Bam, new one from Squid. Whew. I am so psyched for this Squid record. This record's going to rock so goddamn hard. I mean, there are so many post-punk fundamentals the band is touching down on between this and their last single, but they're like progressing it to an exciting, experimental, tight, and engaging place. Just absolutely loving it. We also have this one over here from Spirit of the Beehive. This new, I guess you can call them an indie outfit. The Server is Immersed is the name of the track. It's one of a few tracks that are out now from their upcoming project in April. And I'm just loving how dreamy and subversive this track is. I suppose it has a bit of a Mac DeMarco vibe, but it feels like it's coming from another dimension or something. I'm liking it quite a bit. Try it out. We also have this one over here from Remi Wolf, Photo ID, a track you may be familiar with, but it's got Dominic Fike on it now. It's quite an internet banger, very burnt out and digital and fun, tongue-in-cheek, I suppose. We also have Panopticon. Panopticon is back. Wasn't too crazy about the last record, but, regardless, I have loved... a couple of Panopticon records up until this point. I am psyched about a new Panopticon project regardless. And this is a pretty interesting song. The first track to come from this forthcoming record and again Into the Light was the final track, No Hope. And it's a bit of a change of pace. It's heavier and more pummeling than some of the more recent Panopticon stuff. The folk influences, at least on this track, seem to melt away quite a bit. Again, pummeling first leg. It's a lengthy track. Pummeling first leg. Then it moves into a somewhat underwhelming post-rock inspired passage in the middle. But then it comes back with a vengeance with a series of drum beats and riffs that feel like almost like metalcore or crust punk inspired. It's really heavy, really aggressive, and a slightly new sound and direction for Panopticon, and it's sounding pretty interesting. All right, we have the Lasso and Open Mike Eagle coming together on this new cut over here that I haven't been seeing turn too many heads or anything. I wonder if some of the Open Mike Eagle fans are even aware of it. It's titled Gold Gloves, and it's quite good. Seems like Mike Eagle still in a pretty introspective place on this one. Beat fits his style as well. Give it a try. We also have one from Lil Mariko over here, whose new project is out, and there's one of many tracks from that I could push to you. The one I do want to hone in on here is Catboys, which is not only a drill style track, like a UK, New York, neo-New York drill style track, but it's about Mariko's love of Catboys. There's mention of pegging in it as well. Guys, it's the new peg anthem. It's the new pegging anthem, all right, for 2021. We have Lana Del Rey, Chemtrails Over the Country Club. The new record is out now. The song I would like to point out to you is White Dress, which is quite stunning. I actually think one of my favorite Lana tracks to date. There is an incredible, I wouldn't even say falsetto on this track. There were a lot of people kind of trashing her falsetto on this song. I mean, clearly she's not singing in a normal falsetto on purpose. It's like a very strained, high-pitched whisper, which I think conveys quite a bit of emotion and lends to the theatrics of the story that she's telling on this track quite a bit. I thought it was a very stunning opening to the record, and I will leave my thoughts there as I have a review for this album coming out very soon. So, stay tuned for that. We also have one over here from Jen Wassner of Y Oak fame, Flock of Dimes. The new record from this project of hers is coming out very soon. Hard Way is the name of the track I would like to push to you over here. And it's a very stripped back and surreal ballad. Loving the vocals on this one quite a bit. And I'm not usually a Y Oak guy. Not usually a Y Oak guy, but I am liking this track quite a bit. Just try it out. Give it a listen. Thought it was one of my favorite tracks of the week, so don't miss out on it. All right, and we have Chai, who has done a theme song over here for Tenkorin, a series that I'm not particularly familiar with, but let me tell you, the theme they wrote for it is fucking awesome. My God, the phases, the changes, the energy, the hype, it's fantastic. Loving it. Shout out to Chai, always and forever. All right, we have Baby No Money over here, Lentra, with a very low-key banger. Lots of sticky lyrical gems on this one, good energy. Bit of a Neptunes vibe on it, which is pretty cool. And it's just great all around. Very fun banger with that, again, that low-key charisma that Baby No Money does very well. And last one over here, Aesop Rock, Long-Legged Larry. He has come through with I guess a non-album single here of a just banging abstract hip-hop track featuring a very exciting story of a frog. Because, that is the creative mind of Aesop Rock. It should be no surprise to anybody that he would come up with a creative tale of a frog and just tell that story to death over a pretty badass beat. Just give it a try, give it a shot. All right, that has been the weekly track roundup, everybody. Hopefully you got some good recommendations out of this. You're the best. Love you. I'll see you in the next video. Again, remember, everything I talked about is linked down below. Forever.